tidings. And so the universe then has no choice. First attribute of the secret place. The secret place is a place of revelation. It makes you free because it awakens you and makes you consciously aware that everything that you thought was holding you is an illusion. Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to this empowerment session with the Emerge movement, where we are empowering people on their spiritual journey to wholeness. And we are so glad that you decided to come and join us tonight and be a part of this conscious conversation. Tonight is going to be good. And I believe it's going to be one of those conversations that we're going to have a lot of interaction back and forth. I like an interactive dialogue like we normally have, but this one I think is going to be more intense because I've had so many of you that have asked me about this particular topic. So go ahead, Rob, before we get into it, before we start digging in, take a moment and tag and share with as many people as you possibly can. Alert them that we are on the air so that they can come over and join us in this conversation tonight. I'm so good to see so many of you that are on right now. Go ahead, tag and share right now where you are and invite them to come and be a part of this conversation. While you're doing that, I want to direct your attention to the description that's written above. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, as well as those of you who are watching on YouTube Live. If you're on YouTube Live, it's written below. If you're on Facebook, it's written above. In the description, you will see there that there's the link for the website there. I want to encourage you to go over and visit our website. Those of you especially who may be uninitiated or new to this particular conversation, you want to know more about what Emerge is about, what our purpose is, our vision, our goal, what our mission statement is. Go and visit the website and you'll find a very clear and detailed description about what the Emerge movement is about. It's not about religion, it's about relationship. This is about spirituality and really connecting with the divine God that is in you, through you, and as you, helping you to fulfill your purpose and reach your destiny. It's not like anything that you've ever encountered before, because we are a welcoming, inviting community of spirit beings. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, what your status is in life. We don't discriminate on race, creed, color, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. You are welcome to be a part of this family. We love every single one of you, and we are glad that you have chosen to be a part of this movement. And if you have not joined us, you've not partnered with us, then please take advantage of the opportunity to becoming a partner with the Emerge movement. All you have to do is shoot me an email to the email address that is on the website. And I guess I can put it up on the screen as well. Let me go ahead and put it up for you. Shoot me an email to this email address that is on your screen right now. And just simply say 3 words: I want in. That's all that it takes. When I get that email from you, I'll send you out a detailed information packet about the Emerge movement, along with the partnership agreement. After you've read over it and sign it, you simply email it back to me, and that's it. You are in. And I can promise you that being a partner with this movement is beneficial, and it is not anything like anything you've ever been involved in before, because we're not rigid, we're not legalistic or dogmatic, and there's not a whole lot of requirements and everything else that's placed upon you. It's an opportunity for you, and you get to choose whether you're going to participate in at what level and at what rate and how much and how often. It is completely up to you. We are just here as a resource for you to be able to receive the tools that you need in order for you to be able to evolve and grow and to reach your highest good and your fullest potential. And so I hope that you'll take advantage of that and that you'll go over and visit us on the website. All right. I've given you opportunity to share. I'm missing a bunch of you tonight that are normally on here. I don't know where everybody is. Somebody find Toya. She's normally here. Diana, where your buddy at? Amen. She's normally on here with us and tagging up a storm. And Sister Winston and others of that sort. I think maybe they might just be running a little bit late, or maybe they just got tied up and people are busy tonight. But we want to have this conversation that's here. But I need for those of you who are on to go ahead and tag and share. Do that for me, if you will. Tag and share. Those of you watching by way of YouTube, you can share the link by way of text message in your group messages or anything else along those lines. Invite as many people as you possibly can. I know you will, Diana. Y'all are attached at the hip. So I know if anybody can find her, you will find her. So tonight I wanted to begin a conversation with you under the heading of the nature of our being that is focused and centered around rediscovering your purpose. Now, I know that already the title alone is a little intriguing because you're probably asking, what do you mean by rediscovering your purpose? Don't you mean discovering your purpose or uncovering your purpose? No, I meant exactly what I said, rediscovering your purpose. Because at one point you knew and have always known what your purpose is. You helped to co-create it, and you also entered into covenant agreement with God to come into this iteration of life along with every other iteration that you will experience across the multiverse, across dimensions, time, space, and across the eons. You agreed to come here and to fulfill purpose. The word purpose literally means an original intent. What was the original intent for your being placed in the earth at this moment, at this time, in this place, in the family that you were in, the neighborhood you grew up in, the relationships that you had, the school that you went to, the color that you are, the sexual orientation that you have, the religion you were exposed to, the experiences that you've had. Everything in life has purpose. And when you begin to understand the why to the what, you begin to understand what purpose is all about. Purpose exposes the why to the what. Most of us have so much that have taken place in our life. And I know ultimately many of you have asked yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here? Or a phrase that I hear very often from different ones that I mentor and teach is that I know that there's something I'm supposed to do, something that I'm supposed to accomplish, but I'm just not sure what it is. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my soul. Like there's something, or they'll say, God has something for me to do, but I'm just not clear on what it is. That is, the why begins to reveal the what. If you can understand your why you are here, why you were born where you were, why all of the other things, it will begin to make sense of your whats. And then the other whats that occur in your life will begin to give light to the whys. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know that sounds a little paradoxical, but it's going to all make sense in just a little while as we go further in the conversation. Good to see you, Rachel. God bless you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, make sure you you tag Sister Teresa, uh-huh, and Sister Porter and others, both Helen Porter, Gloria Porter, all of them. I'm missing the fam. I'm missing the fam. Um, but it's good to see you that are on here. So, um, what is my purpose? What is the original intention? Why was I sent into this three-dimensional life at this particular moment and time? What is the reason? What am I here to do? What am I here to accomplish? Now, before I even get further into that piece, let me also state that when you begin to live a life of purpose, when you are living a life of purpose, then you experience the ultimate in freedom and liberty. You are no longer driven, but you are led. You are led by the purpose that is attached to your life. Purpose helps you to discern the things that you should welcome into your life and those things that you should reject from your life. Purpose gives rhyme and reason to your experiences and your choices. Purpose becomes the substratum of your decision making as you go through life. When you understand your original intent, then you are able to discern more clearly the kinds of connections, opportunities, doors that you should walk through and those that you should walk past. When you begin to understand what your purpose is. Purpose is vital and so important because when you don't understand the purpose of a thing, it opens you up, it opens it up for abuse. Abnormal use. That's abuse is abnormal use. I often give the example of things like a watch. This watch that I have on has a purpose. The purpose of the watch is to tell time. But if I tried to take this watch and hammer nails with it, I would destroy the watch and I wouldn't be able to complete the assigned task of hammering the nail because the watch was not designed to hammer nails. That's not the purpose of the watch. When you try and use something outside of its original intent, outside of its original design, then you begin to abnormally use it. It's abnormal use. And so you are there hammering away at a nail. There's nothing wrong with the nail. There's no problem with the wood or whatever the project is that you're trying to complete. The problem is how you are going about using the watch because you have not understood the purpose behind the watch. You are abnormally using it, and then here's what will happen. When you hammer away and the nail is not driven, but the watch becomes broken and damaged and destroyed, if you are oblivious to the purpose, you find yourself getting mad at the watch. This old sorry raggedy piece of watch wouldn't. I'm trying to hammer the nail. It wouldn't even hammer the nail as well. That's not what it was made for. See, and quite often, ladies and gentlemen, when we don't know the purpose of a thing, the purpose of a relationship, the purpose of a job, the purpose of a particular place that you are living in, you find yourself trying to use and operate in these things and use them outside of the parameter for which they were designed. You begin to have expectations of the watch that it cannot meet. And you can't get mad at the watch or at the person or at the relationship or at the job because it does not meet an expectation that it was never designed to meet in the first place. You are expecting or trying to get it to operate outside of its original intent. And ladies and gentlemen, when you even start trying to operate outside of the parameters of what you have been designed for, the reason for your being, the why to your what, then you run up against challenges, difficulties that keep causing you to falter and fall. And if you're not careful, you become frustrated, aggravated, insecure. You develop low self-esteem. I just can't seem to do nothing right. And this is not working for me. Maybe I'm not this, and maybe I'm not that, and maybe I'm not strong enough, smart enough, or talented enough. When in fact, you are trying to operate outside of the original intent for which you were created. And so when you are doing so, you find yourself getting frustrated and angry and agitated because things are not coming together as you imagine them to, because that is not within the periphery of your particular purpose. When you find your purpose, when you step into the flow of your original intention or your unique design, then everything begins to unfold and work smoothly. When you pick up the hammer to begin to hammer the nail, it's designed for that. And all of a sudden, what was challenging and difficult before now becomes a smooth operation because you are using the correct tool in the correct fashion under the correct circumstances in the correct situation. You are using it for what it was designed for. And the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you operating according to purpose? Are you operating in an eclectic fashion where you are doing a little here, a little there, jack of all trades, but master of none, trying to do all of these different things, running off in 100 different directions, but you have no real focus, no real clear vision about what it is that you are trying to accomplish or trying to manifest. You see, understanding the laws of manifestation, the laws behind vision is good, but if you don't have vision, if you don't understand purpose, then you'll find yourself going about trying to manifest this, that, and the other, and a whole bunch of things that don't align itself with your original design, your unique design for being in the earth. And so you become loaded down with a bunch of unnecessary stuff. Paul calls it weight and sin. Lay aside every weight and sin, every unnecessary thing, and every error or mistake or missing of the mark. He says, you got to lay those things aside. Well, how do I lay them aside and ensure that I won't pick them up again? How do I lay aside the error as well as the unnecessary encumbrance and be assured that I'm not going to pick those up or some other encumbrances or errors up along the way? It's when I began to understand purpose. It's like if I purpose to make an apple pie, then I won't go to the grocery store looking for blueberries. Are you understanding what I'm saying? If I don't understand the original design of an apple pie, I'll go buying all kinds of ingredients, putting them into what I want to be an apple pie, and then I get upset and frustrated because it doesn't come out right, because I got strawberries, blueberries, and nutmeg and flour and some of everything else mixed into what was supposed to be an apple pie. But when I understand the original design, the recipe, then I am now able to be discerning about what I include in the construction of the apple pie. Ladies and gentlemen, when you understand your original design, your recipe, yes, glory, the purpose of your life, then you become more discerning and discriminating about what you include in the construction of your life. You are creating in every moment the next moments of your life by the decisions and choices that you make. That is the law of cause and effect. If you are not clear about what your original intent, what your unique design is, then you'll find yourself making choices that feel good for the moment, but serve no real long-lasting purpose, that bring you a momentary delight or pleasure, or may bring you a unnecessary pain or discomfort, but have really they are of really no value because they are not a part of your recipe for life, your unique design, or your original intention. Are you understanding what I'm saying? If you have any questions along the way, please just go ahead and hit me in the comments, because I want to make sure that everybody gets a clear understanding. That is the essence of what purpose is all about. We need to really be focused on rediscovering our purpose so that we can live life rather with intention. Live it deliberately, that you're not just making arbitrary decisions along the way, haphazard decisions along the way that have no lasting value because they were never a part of your original intent. So let's go a bit further and deal with why I use the term rediscovering. Now, those of you who have been following and listening for a while, you are already tuned into this and clear. But just for the sake of those who may not have been listening and may be tuned in for the first time, let me just briefly discuss this. Every one of us, every part of humanity existed in the mind or the isness, the ether, the isness of God. And according to scripture, biblical principle, we existed in God before the foundations of the world. The scripture says in Ephesians chapter 1 that he chose us, that is God, it chose us, selected us Where? In himself, when? Before the foundations of the world. In Romans chapter 8, it says, whom he foreknew, them he predestined. To foreknow means that he knew us before. Before what? Before we came into this three-dimensional form that we call human life. When we existed in God, that is within itself, as pure essence, spirit, energy, life force, whatever terminology you want to use, please don't get hung up on the semantics of it. When we existed in God as pure energy or spirit or life force in God, it was prior to there ever being a heaven or earth, before there was ever a three-dimensional existence, before time even began. Even before the beginning of the beginning began, because the beginning didn't begin until God began it, and time didn't begin until God began time. And yet we know that we existed in God, that is, as God, as fully spirit. Yes, glory, fully energy, essence, our life force. Before time began, before the beginning began, it foreknew us. God foreknew us. He foreknew us. And then the scripture says, because it foreknew us, it predetermined our destination, predetermined our outcome. Listen to what this text says. Because it foreknew us, because God foreknew us, it predetermined what our ultimate outcome would be, what our end would be. Okay. But if we existed in God as fully spirit, in God as God, then all that God is and all that God knows and all that God encompasses, what we were a part of it. So before the foundations of the world, that is, before there was ever a heaven and an earth, before he said, let there be, we existed and were known of God in God. So we were present with God. According to St. John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, the Logos, the thought, the idea, the imagination, the image, the concept. That's what that word means. Logos is defined as a thought, an image, an idea, an imagination, or concept. And so we existed as a thought, an idea, an imagination, a concept in God as God. And so all that God knows, we knew and know at the time. Therefore, when it predetermined our outcome and ordered our steps, all the steps of man are ordered by God. We were there at the moment of the ordering, at the moment of the predestination, and entered into covenant agreement with God to enter this three-dimensional form to fulfill the purpose of our being. We came into this three-dimensional existence fully cognizant of what our reason for coming was. But at the entrance of spirit into this form and now cohabitating with soul, dressed and draped in a soul, that soul consciousness began to be bombarded with exterior and external information coming at it from left and right, from culture, environment, family experiences, traumas, after birth, and even in utero, that began to feed information in, drowning out the sound of our own original voice and causing us to forget, but not forego. Forget the agreement that we made in coming into this three-dimensional form. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Give me a second. Let me grab a towel because I'm sweating here. And it's getting in my eyes. These lights are a little warm. Are y'all following me though? So we began to forget what it is that we agreed to and came into this three-dimensional form to do. But that's okay, because even though over the periods of time in our life, from our childhood up until this very moment, we have been consistently bombarded with false informations and influences that come from the exterior, trying to ingrain us with certain beliefs and ideologies that are antithetical to what we know. And we've talked about that before, when our belief is in conflict with what we know. You are taught to believe, but you come here knowing. Let me say that again. You are taught to believe, but you enter this form knowing. It is a fact, ladies and gentlemen, that babies are more in tune, what we call babies, are more in tune with the spirit world, with God, with the divine self than all adults are. Because at that point, they are just entering in this iteration of form of life, and they are freshly here, fully cognizant of all they have known throughout the eons of time. It is only as they continue to grow, physically grow, and their soul is bombarded with all of this external information that you begin to lose touch, lose alignment, forget what you have always known, because you keep getting conflicting information that tells you to believe. You are taught to be fearful. You are taught to be prejudiced. You are taught to hate. You are taught. Are you understanding what I'm saying? You are taught by culture. These are the things that you're supposed to like. This is how you're supposed to act. This is the way you're supposed to think. You are taught by religion. These are the rules you have to live by. This is how God is, and this is the picture and portrait of God. When you came here fully God and divine, knowing full well the essence of God, but were taught to believe something contrary to what you know. And even when you were taught to believe it and you mentally assented to it and embraced those beliefs, you would always feel that uneasiness inside of you, because there was that knowing pushing up against your conscious mind saying, this doesn't feel right. There's something not quite right about this. But your mind says, well, that's what pastor said, and that's what mama said, and that's what the prophet said, and that's what the bishop said. And they've been telling me this all my life, so it must be true. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And much like that, ladies and gentlemen, this same thing applies to purpose and life. How many of you, like me, grew up with parents, uh, relatives, friends, your environment, placing an expectation on you of what you would become? You should be this. You should do this. You should become that. You should do this. This is who you are. This is what you're supposed to do. This is who you are. This is how. Everyone telling you, do this, do this. How many of you listening to me right now even pursued particular paths, careers, only because it's what you were told that you're supposed to do? You went to college because that's what was expected of you. You pursued a particular major or career because everyone said, well, you need to either be a doctor or be a lawyer or be an engineer. You need to do something that's going to make you some money. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Because they didn't understand your original intent or your unique design. Lord have mercy. Now, you can't be upset with them because they didn't understand yours, because they didn't understand theirs either. And so people spend their entire life working a job that they hate, living a life that they despise, living a life that they're miserable with, always feeling this sense that there's something bigger, something greater, something else that they ought to be doing, but they can't really put their finger on it because they are so focused on trying to fulfill what they have been told. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how a mother's supposed to act. This is what a man is supposed to do. This is how a woman is supposed to act. We have all of these arbitrary rules that didn't come from God. They came from our society. They came from our culture. They came from our environment. They came from our religions. And they all try and tell you how to be, how to think, how to act, who to be. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? Huh? And so you end up getting lost in the sauce, even though you have this nagging, uncomfortable, gnawing feeling down in the pit of your gut. I know that I should be doing something else. I know that I'm supposed to do something different, something bigger. I know that I'm capable of more. Man, I got to work this job because I got bills to pay and I got this. You make choices and decisions that put you in circumstances where you have unnecessary obligations that don't align themselves with your original intent. And so now you are tangled up, tied up, wrapped up, twisted, and mangled in all of these things, trying to navigate life, trying to keep your head above water, trying to just stay afloat, trying to just survive and make it from point A to point B, because you have taken on this weight and error. Oh my, yes. These unnecessary things that don't align with your purpose. You were taught to ignore your intuitive knowing, that is your feelings. And we've learned before, feelings are the language of the soul. You feel, you sense, you intuitively know, even when you can't wrap your conscious mind around it. There's that intuitive knowing is inside of you, even when the evidence around you seems to point to something different. But we walk by faith, that intuitive knowing, and not by what we see. Come on. Come on, you follow paths and entered relationships that deep down within you knew already from the start this wasn't for you. But they were nice and they were kind and they were doing this for you and they were doing that for you and they treated you this way. And it seemed like Prince Charming, and it seemed like Snow White. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But deep within, you knew, but you went ahead anyway. And then when it fell apart, you'll say, see, I knew. Yeah, you did. But you were taught to ignore your sense, taught to ignore your feeling, taught to ignore your intuition. But that intuition was put there to remind you of your original intent and your unique design so that you would make choices that align itself with your purpose. Many of you have heard this word floated around in the spiritual community. They say, well, does it resonate with you? Resonance simply means that when you encounter a thing, hear a thing, enter a situation, a circumstance, you get a sense of peace. That's how you know that it's God. That's how you know that it is aligned with your unique design. Because even when it's scary, even when it's huge, even when it seems impossible, you have a sense of peace. Even when it looks completely contradictory and it shouldn't be, you have a sense of peace about it. And vice versa. That when it looks like everything is wonderful, beautiful, gravy train and biscuit wheels, but you have this nagging inside of you that says something about this isn't right. It just doesn't feel right. It just it doesn't sit right with me. That's what we're talking about when we talk about it resonates. It doesn't sit right with me, even though it all looks good. I can't find any fault with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Everything looks perfect. But there's something in me that keeps telling me this isn't for me. And please understand, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what it's trying to awaken you to. It is not saying that the thing itself or the person itself or the place itself is bad. It's simply saying it's not for you. Woo. Did you hear what I said? It's not saying that it's bad. It's simply trying to say to you, this is not for you because it does not align with your original intention, your unique design, your purpose. And so the journey of the soul in this three-dimensional earth through these iterations of life is to reclaim, rediscover our pre-incarnate purpose that we agreed to in coming into this earth. It's to rediscover it, to uncover it, to reveal it, to become consciously aware again for the reasons that we entered this three-dimensional form. Now, I already know that many of you already are saying, okay, I get all of that. I get all of that, Miles, but when you're going to tell us how we figure it out, how do we rediscover it? I'm coming to that. But if I don't fully unpack and dissect the circumstance, then when I start giving you the solution, it won't make sense to you. So just bear with me while we unpack. Okay? Bear with me. I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how. Oh my goodness. I got 14 minutes left. I got to talk faster. Okay. Let me try and move a little quicker. We probably won't complete all of this tonight, and we'll have to do a part 2 of this particular segment. Okay, we'll have to do a part 2 of it. But yeah, so you have this uneasiness because it does not align itself with your original intent. When you find your purpose, when you find those things that are in alignment, in agreement with what it is that you are uniquely designed to do, when you find it, not only will you flow into it with ease, but you will never be discombobulated, frustrated, or anxious about it again. Never again. Because you are doing what you were designed to do. Doesn't mean that there won't be challenges along the way. Doesn't mean that you won't have some difficulty, some hills and mountains that you have to climb. But the journey itself will become a joy because you are doing what you know you were created to do. You understand what I'm saying? When you are doing what you know you are created to do, even on your worst day, you wouldn't trade it for anything because it brings satisfaction to your soul. Whoa! Goodness, I said a mouthful right there. When you are doing what you know you were created to do, even on your worst day, your most challenging day, your most difficult day, you wouldn't trade it for all the money in the world because you have found your home, your place of being, your place of ease. You are uniquely expressing and experiencing your life for what it is that you were designed to do. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Yes? Now, the flip side of that is also true because when you are operating outside of your original intent, when you are walking and trying to perform and live in something that is not aligned with your purpose, then no matter how nice, wonderful, and beautiful it is, you won't find real peace in it. You may make money. You might be successful, but you won't be at peace. There's this movie that Will Smith starred in a few years back called The Pursuit of Happiness. It was based upon a real person's life. A man that he portrayed a real man who actually lived those experiences. And he was being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey when the movie first came out. And he talked about the fact that once he became a wealthy, rich man, which was the goal for him, once he became wealthy and rich, the first thing that he did was to go out and buy this really expensive car. I think he said it was a Maserati that he spent almost $60,000 on and paid cash for it. And he said he kept it for all of about 6 months. And then he got rid of it because he understood. He said, I was riding around in it and I was living in the big house and I had all the money I could ever want and all the clothes I could ever buy and everything at my fingertips, but I felt empty. I felt void. I wasn't happy and I wasn't satisfied. And so he said, I got rid of the car and I took some time to spend alone to look inward at myself. And he says, and it was during that period, that time, that I began to understand the purpose of my life was bigger than me, bigger than my desires, my creature comforts, bigger than the little trinkets and material possessions that I thought was something great. I began to understand that there was a purpose that was bigger than me. It was the thing that I could give and devote my life to that brought me the most joy, and it was free. I didn't have to pay for it with anything other than my time, he said. I devoted my time and then gave my resources to fulfilling that purpose. And I've been more happy and more rewarded because I found my reason for being. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And so that brings me now to the very first step in rediscovering your purpose. The 4 steps, I'm not going to get to all 4 of them tonight. So I'm going to deal with this very first step, and then we'll pick up from there in the next session and go through the other 3. Hopefully we'll get through the other 3 in that session, or we may get through 2 of them, and then we'll have another session for however long it takes, because I don't want to rush through them. But the first key to discovering your, well, wait a minute, hold on. Before I say that, y'all don't get mad at me. At the foundation of all of this, okay, before we even get to the steps, the foundation of all of it is those 5 keys to the universe that I taught you about months ago. And those of you who may not have been on when I was teaching that, it's still on my page. You're going to have to go back a ways to find it. But I go in detail and I discuss all of the keys to the universe. And that's not hyperbole. These spiritual practices are literally the keys that unlock the universe to you, that unlock your divine self and your full potential. If you will follow and use these keys, put them in practice every single day, your life will take a drastic change and shift. They were prayer, meditation, study, worship and praise, fasting, giving, and love. Those 7 spiritual practices. And we talked in details about them. So I just wanted to put that out there. That is the foundation, the substratum, that is the undergirding of everything else. Okay? Especially that key of meditation and prayer. You discover more about yourself in meditation and prayer than you do in any other place. Contrary to popular belief, prayer is not about begging and pleading with God. You don't have to beg and plead for anything. Lord have mercy. Woo, I'm not going to get into that because that's not my assignment tonight. But just know it's not. It's about affirming prayer and coming into the very presence and the essence of yourself, your divine self, the presence of God within you, tapping into your inner divinity and allowing your original voice, your real true voice, for the first time to speak to you and through you, and beginning to get clear images, vision about who you are and why you are here. But there are some cues and clues that you can pay attention to that will begin to set you on the path to discovering purpose. 4 of them. First one tonight. The first one is, what is your passion? Write this down. Passion. Passion is, what is it that you are passionate about, enthusiastic about, something that you love, something that you're not only good at, great at, but that you love. That you love it to the point where you would do it even if you weren't getting paid for it. It's the thing that you do because it brings you more joy than it does the people that might experience your doing it. It brings you joy. It's your happy place. It's the place where you're in your zone. It's the place that you can get lost in and spend all day in, whether it's writing or reading or crafting or building or singing or composing. Whatever that is, what is your passion? Designing or doing hair or detailing vehicles or building and constructing buildings. designing, architecture, drawing, painting, whatever your passion is. What is it that you are innately passionate about? You so love it, you so enjoy it, that it's your happy place. You get lost in it, and you would do it for free. If nobody ever acknowledged you, never paid you, never became famous for it, doesn't even matter. You just absolutely love it. It's the thing that if you could do it for a living, you would. Because your purpose is tied to your passion. Your passion is an indicator, a cue, a clue as to what your purpose is. Let me say that again. Your passion is a clue to what your purpose is. Purpose is always tethered and tied to your passion. And please understand, you can have more than one passion. You can. There are those who have way more than just one passion, or they have a conglomeration of passions that are all interconnected and form one big passion that is in support of their original design. For me, what I'm doing right now is a part of my passion. I love teaching, training, mentoring. I love what I do. This I do, what I'm doing right now with you, what I come on every week doing, I do it because I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about informing, enlightening, and empowering people. I get great joy from it. While I have been so blessed to be able to create a life and a living from it, I would do it, and many times have over the past 45 years. I've done it for absolutely nothing, for free, or done it in a place and space that wasn't able to provide me with the resources to sustain me as far as my life is concerned. And so I worked and did whatever was necessary to make it possible for me to be able to do what I'm passionate about. And it is understanding and coming in tune, in touch with that passion, that I began to discover my reason for being. I love teaching. That's why I'm never bothered. I say it all the time when people's like, "But I don't want to bother you or bombard you with a whole bunch of questions and and this, that, and the other. I know you got other things to do." No, trust me. While I do have a whole lot of other things to do, I'm a busy person, but it is never a bother because I'm passionate about empowering and teaching. I love answering questions. I love when people send me questions, or they'll send me dreams to interpret, and they'll come to me for mentorship or tutoring, or they come to me for life coaching. Man, I absolutely love doing it. It is never an aggravation. It is never a bother. It is never something that I just hate doing. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And even under the most unfavorable situations and circumstances. And yes, over the 45 years that I've been doing it, I have had to do it in some very unfavorable circumstances. But because I was so in love with it, so passionate about doing it, I did it anyway. and was at peace doing so, found joy in doing it, even though it was under difficult circumstances. I recall at one time I was asked to come. I wasn't asked to come. I was actually asked to come and minister or teach at a particular place in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was one place. And I went there and I fulfilled the assignment for which I was brought there to do. But while there, another group of people from a different church said, "We'd love for you to come and do revival for us." And I said, "Sure, I'll be glad to come and do it." And I came there, but when I got there, it was there in the city of Chattanooga as well. They informed me that they were not able to really offer me the kind of accommodations that I really would have been more comfortable with. Okay, let me say it in plain English. They couldn't put me in a hotel. So I ended up, the first couple of nights, I was there for 2 weeks. The first couple of nights sleeping in my car. That's right. And then after that, sleeping in the church. When they found out I was sleeping in the car, they said, "Well, you can sleep in the church." So I slept inside the church. Every night I was preaching in ministry. Every night I was teaching. Every night I was empowering. And after 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, and I say this not as an indictment, that's why I'm not calling the name of the place or the people or anything else like that. At the end of 2 weeks of the building being packed with people and they're giving and being generous in the offerings, they turned around at the end of the 2 weeks and gave me $200. Now, mind you, I've been sleeping in the church the whole time. And I was teaching and preaching every night. But guess what? Even though it was an unfavorable situation, a difficult, uncomfortable circumstances, and I was dealt with unfairly at the end, I did it with absolute joy because I was in my happy place. I was doing what I loved. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I was doing what I was passionate about. And what I later discovered is that it was an essential part of what I was designed to do. Not only do I do it because I'm passionate, but I do it at a very high skill level. And that takes me to another indicator. But I'm out of time. I'm already out of time. What are you passionate about? I'm getting ready to close the conversation, but what is it that you are passionate about? What brings you joy? Where's your happy place? What is it that brings you so much peace and happiness and joy and pleasure? What is it? That passion is tethered to your purpose. It is the first step in your beginning to rediscover your reason for being here. Take some time to sit with this and ask yourself. You don't have to answer it right away, right now, tonight, but just ask yourself, what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you really, really care about? That you couldn't imagine not ever doing this again in your life, not being this, not performing in this way. What is it that you are deeply, intensely passionate about? I want you to take some time during the course of this coming week, and I want you to sit with that question. Here's your homework. Sit with that question. Pray about it, meditate on it, ruminate about it. And then if you have a journal, Write in your journal. If you don't have a journal, start one and just write down the thing or the things that you are intensely passionate about. Just write it down. Writing memorializes and solidifies. So write them down and then pray over them again. Look at them, examine them, study them, and then we'll pick up from there in our next conversation. Do y'all have any questions at all? Please put it in the comments right now because I'm getting ready to close the conversation. Yes, you're welcome. You are so welcome. Theresa says, thank you for bringing more clarity to my passion. Praise God. You are welcome. It's my pleasure because I have a saying that I say to people, and many of you on here probably heard me say it in personal exchanges I've had with you. It's my honor to serve you. I don't say that just to sound deep, man. It really is. It is my honor and my pleasure because I am doing what I was created to do. It's never a bother. Never, ever, 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 ever a bother. I'm in my happy place when I'm serving you by giving you what you need to be empowered. Sit with it. This week, sit with it. Sit with it. Okay, I don't see any other questions popping up in the comments. So I want to remind all of you that I have 2 new books that have been released. They're on the website right now in the online store. Please go over and check it out. Order your books today. Those of you who have already ordered, the good news is that the shipment of books is on its way here now. And so you should have your books in hand really, really soon. I am so sorry for the delay. As I explained before, the whole problem with Federal Express. And so the publisher is express mailing those books to me, and I will send them out immediately as soon as they get here. Others of you who want to get your copies, please go to the website. You can order Words to Live By Volume 2 as well as Inner Sense. Or if you don't have it, Words to Live By Volume 1 as well is on the website, as well as a number of other designs for t-shirts, sweatshirts, and jackets, caps, and hats, and other things of that sort as well. You can order at will, and we'd love for you to patronize us there. I also want to remind you that you can also enroll in Emergent Life Coaching and Mentorship. All the information that you need about it is, again, on the website. The link is written in the description above. You can click on the link. It'll take you there and give you all the details about the life coaching and mentorship program that I am offering to all of you who would like to take part. We have a 12-month program and a 6-month program, so you can choose which one you'd like to enroll in. And they're at different levels: the gold level, silver level, and gold level, and platinum level. So you can go there, check out all the information and what it entails, and enroll. I would love to be able to personally, one-on-one, mentor you and help you to achieve and accomplish all of your goals. All right, I want to give you the opportunity and the privilege to be able to sow tonight. So if you haven't already, and some of you have, but if you haven't already, please give your most generous gift that you can. When you give, you are doing so to demonstrate how much you value the work and the ministry and these spiritual conscious conversations that we are having. As I said, this is my passion and purpose. I'm going to continue to do it no matter what. But your support is good for you because you are sowing into good ground and therefore creating a currency, a compensation, and a harvest for yourself. So I want to encourage you to give and to sow into this good ground. Those of you who are partners, you know that we ask of you, as you are able to tithe into this this movement. Now, don't sit up and have your lights turned off because you don't have you're trying to tithe into this movement, man. You pay your light bill and give what you can afford to give, okay? But if you can tithe, then practice the spiritual practice of tithing. It's not an obligation. It is a spiritual principle and practice. It is an opportunity, not an obligation. But go ahead and tithe and give your offerings in that manner, and begin to create that currency and flow within your life. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope that you were empowered and encouraged by what you heard tonight. I really hope you do. Thank you, Beverly. She says, yes, you gave us keys that unlock closed minds. I know you meant minds there. Yes. And I appreciate that. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you again for our next conversation on Thursday at the same time at 8 p.m. Please join us. Tell your friends, invite them to be a part of it as well. Have an absolutely wonderful night and a most splendiferous day. See you later.
Thank you for tuning in. And be sure to catch us every Sunday at 7 p.m. for empowerment.
That we are a unique expression.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. for momentum.
The creation of God and the God who created him.
Once again, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. And we'll see you next time.